My fiancé said, "You promised to take care of me." I replied, "No, I didn't." Then I hired a forensic accountant, walked out with my inheritance intact, exposed her lies in court, and I smiled because she has no idea how the foreclosure will hit. Original post, I am 33. My now ex-fiancée, Naomi, is 31. We were together for years, no kids. We lived in a condo she rented before we met. I work in finance. She works in marketing for a hospital network. We met at a charity 5K. She was confident, social, and full of plans. I liked that. She talked about marriage early, but I didn't rush. After 3 years, I proposed. Last fall, my grandfather passed away. He left me an inheritance. After taxes, I got about $230,000. It wasn't life-changing, but it was enough to build a future. I told Naomi I wanted to invest it carefully. She called it our nest egg. A month later, she started hinting about her financial stress. Student loans, credit cards, a few old mistakes. She said she didn't want to bring debt into our marriage. I respected that until she said I should use part of my inheritance to clear it. Her tone wasn't a request. It was a plan. She showed me a printout, balances, interest rates, total around $120,000. One loan stood out, $80,000 from a bank I didn't recognize. When I asked, she said it was a consolidation loan. Something didn't fit. Naomi never lived like someone under that much debt. She had designer bags, traveled, and paid rent early. The next week, she started keeping her laptop shut and checking the mail first. One afternoon, she rushed to a dress fitting and left her folder open on the counter. A single page slid out. I picked it up to move it and froze. At the top, loan purpose, down payment. Borrowers, Naomi Ellis and Javier Cruz. Javier was her ex, the one she said cheated on her. I put the page back exactly how I found it. Then I sent an email to a forensic accountant my firm sometimes used. I asked him to quietly trace the loan records. I didn't confront her. Not yet. That night, Naomi kissed my cheek and said, "We just have to trust each other." I smiled. I did trust myself to get to the truth. Update 1, 2 weeks later, the accountant sent a report. The $80,000 loan wasn't for school or cards. It was a joint mortgage down payment on a condo 2 neighborhoods away. The property deed listed Naomi and Javier as co-owners. They'd bought it 3 years ago, right before she moved in with me. The payments were still active. She was quietly paying half the mortgage. I printed the report, placed it in a folder, and waited. That Friday night, she opened a bottle of wine and said, "We need to make decisions about the inheritance." I nodded. "Sure," I said, "let's go over everything." I slid the folder across the table. She looked down, then up, her face going white. "What's this?" "You tell me," I said. "Down payment." "Co-owned with Javier Cruz," she stammered. Said it was ancient history. That they bought it before they broke up, that he refused to refinance. "So your plan," I said slowly, "was for me to pay off a mortgage tied to your ex-boyfriend." Tears came fast. "It's complicated. You don't understand. He ruined my credit. I just need to clear it so we can start fresh." I didn't yell. I just asked, "Did you ever plan to tell me?" She said, "I was going to after the wedding, once we were family." That word family hit like static. I stood up, went to the bedroom, and took off my ring. "Then there's no wedding." She followed me, crying, grabbing my arm. "You can't just leave. You promised to take care of me." I said, "No, I promised to be honest. You didn't." I left that night and stayed at my brother's place. Update 2, the next week was chaos. Naomi called nonstop. Her mother called too. The tone shifted from "let's talk" to "you owe her." They claimed calling off the wedding was financial abandonment. Her mom said, "You led her to expect security." I forwarded everything to my lawyer. He told me to cut contact and document every threat. 3 days later, I got a letter. Naomi was demanding reimbursement for emotional distress and financial losses. She wanted me to pay half the wedding deposits and half her debt restructuring fees. My lawyer laughed. Then he told me to counter. We filed a small claim for the deposits I'd already paid and the accountant's fee. Everything was in writing. I had proof she lied about the loan and withheld financial information. Naomi tried to spin it online. A A few of her friends posted cryptic things about men who can't handle commitment. I stayed silent. The accountant's report spread through her circle anyway. One of her bridesmaids worked at a bank and confirmed the condo existed. Naomi went dark on social media after that. Then I got a text from an unknown number. "Javier here. I think we need to talk." He showed up at a coffee shop downtown. He looked tired. He told me Naomi had begged him not to sell the condo because her fiancé would pay it off soon. She'd been stringing both of us along him to keep the asset, me to fund it. When he stopped paying, she covered both halves for 6 months using credit cards. That was the debt. By the time I left the cafe, I wasn't even angry, just empty. Update 3 a month later, Naomi texted again. "We need closure. Please meet me." I agreed. Public cafe, broad daylight. She looked smaller, quieter. No makeup, no ring. She started with tears. "I made mistakes. I panicked. I just wanted us to have a home." I said nothing. She reached across the table. "I loved you. I still do. We can fix this." I said, "You didn't want a partner. You wanted a bailout." She cried harder. "I thought you'd understand. You have money. I thought that meant we'd be okay." I pushed back my chair. "You were right about one thing. I'm okay. You won't be." She begged, "Don't destroy me with that report." "I don't have to," I said. "You already did." Then I walked out. Final update, it's been 6 months. Naomi never showed up to court. My lawyer won by default. The judge ordered her to repay the wedding deposits and accountant fees. She hasn't paid yet, but the judgment is on record. I heard the condo went into foreclosure. Javier filed for bankruptcy. Naomi moved back in with her mother. Every few weeks, a mutual friend sends a screenshot. Naomi posts vague quotes about toxic men and trust issues. It doesn't bother me. The inheritance is still intact, minus legal costs. I moved to a new apartment, smaller but peaceful. I kept one photo of my grandfather on the wall. He used to say, "Money shows character." He was right. Naomi showed hers, and I walked away with mine.